Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girdhari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girdhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Jira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Ballabha Girdhari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girdhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ki Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Since tomorrow is the official day for Lord Balaram's appearance, I thought we could warm up a bit for that occasion by today discussing the forest pastimes of Balaram and Krsna. As you know, in Bhagavad Gita, Krsna says in the 18th chapter, Krishi Gorakshavanijam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. The activities of the mercantile class are cow protection and land protection. So Balaram carries a plow because he's representing Krishi Raksha, land protection. And Krishna has the flute for herding the cows. He's representing Goraksha, cow protection. Most of you have heard that there's practically no difference between Krishna and Balaram in terms of emotions and in terms of dress. The main difference is that Balaram is whitish and Krishna is bluish. Balaram likes to wear blue clothes and Krishna likes to wear yellow clothes. That's about the biggest difference between the two. In this forest pastime that we're going to talk about, Krishna wants to give all the glory to Balaram. Not only are they close in terms of growing up in Braj together, and their appearance day is just a few weeks apart, but they're also very emotionally bound with each other. But first, let's understand something about the forest in Brindavan. This is explained by Kavi Karnapur, the great devotee, writer, associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He explains that there are 6 seasons in Brindavan. You may just think of winter, spring, summer, fall. 4, but there's 6. There's the monsoon season, and then the autumn season, and then the winter season, and then something called the dewy season, when there's lots of dew, and then spring and summer. In Braj, there's a forest for each season. That means there's a forest that specializes in winter. There's a forest that specializes in autumn, and so forth, for all the 6 seasons. This is all for Krishna's enjoyment, because even in the material world, people will say, variety is what provides pleasure. Krishna is the possessor of unlimited varieties, and that shows among many, many other ways that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for Krishna's pleasure, he can walk into the winter forest, the summer forest, the monsoon forest, all for his pleasure. So those are 6, but there are actually 4 more. There are 3 forests that are doubles. They have, for example, winter and spring combined. So you have 6 with the separate seasons, you have 3 with double combination seasons, and there's 1 forest in Braj that has all 6 seasons happening at once. You may try to construct an amusement park in the material world, Disneyland, whatever. Nothing can compare to what Krishna has arranged for his pleasure through his pastime energies like Lila Shakti. So when Krishna goes to the forest is ready to provide Krishna with pleasure. And Krishna enjoys the forest. The forest enjoys giving Krishna pleasure. We're going to go to the time of Bhadra. Just like sometimes the book distributors, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, will initiate a Bhadra campaign. The cowherd boys also have their own Bhadra campaign. But we'll get to that later. Maybe. First, we start off in the forest. It's Gopashtami, the time when Krishna is allowed by his father Nanda Maharaj to take care of the cows. Prior to that, before Krishna is 6 years old, he and Balaram are only allowed to take care of calves right near the house. as they get a little older, before they're 6, Mother Yashoda, Mother Rohini allow them to move a little bit further away from the house, but they can't disappear into the forest. Nanda Maharaj and the elder cowherd men, they take care of the cows. But now, Krishna's all spiritual body seems to have grown. Everything for the sake of pastimes. So Nanda Maharaj gives Krishna and Balaram permission to take care of the cows. Already in Brindavan, Krishna and Balaram's lotus feet, the footprints of their feet, have enlivened Brindavan. Because everything is spiritual in Krishna's abode. So the earth is feeling such pleasure from the footprints of Krishna and Balaram. But because Krishna and Balaram are very young, they're little, they're just now turning 6. Before they turn 6, their footprints on the earth are not distinct. But when they turn 6 years old and go from the Kumar to the Poganda phase, the symbols on the bottoms of their feet become more prominent in the footprints on the earth. Something for you to meditate on. So they're going to the forest together. Generally, especially in the Poganda phase, between the ages of 6 and 10, Krishna and Balaram are always together in the forest. But when Krishna reaches the Kaishore age, past the age of 10, sometimes he breaks away from Balaram. He tells Balaram, "We're here at Govardhan Hill. I'll stay here. I have some affairs to do here at Govardhan Hill. You go to the Yamuna River." What's Krishna doing? Aha. He has his confidential teenage affairs. And bear in mind, Krishna has his own set of gopis and Balaram has his own. So they don't share in that way. There's the distinction. So they're going to the forest and Krishna notices. This is the first day in the forest that Krishna is allowed to go with the cows. And Krishna notices all the trees are bowing down with branches loaded with fruits and flowers, bowing down to touch Krishna's feet. But Krishna decides to have some merriment. And with a secret smile, because he doesn't want Balaram to detect, he says, "Oh, Balaram, just look, all the trees are bowing down to you." They're loaded with fruits and flowers and offering their respects to your lotus feet. And then Krishna points out, "Look at all the bees buzzing. They're your devotees, Balaram." They accompany you everywhere, even to confidential kunjas, confidential groves, where you're having confidential pastimes and no one else can come, but these bees can follow you. They can witness your confidential affairs. And then Krishna points out other aspects of the Brindavan forest. He points out to Balaram, "Look at the cuckoos. They're singing so sweetly for you. Look at the peacocks. They're dancing so wonderfully for you. Look at the deer. They're gazing at you with such affection, just like your gopi girlfriends gaze at you also." But remember, this is the Palganda phase, between the age of 6 and 10, where the main pastimes are Sakyaras. They're the prominent pastimes. Whereas when Krishna and Balaram are between the ages of childbirth and 5 years old, the main rasa is Vatsalya, the parental exchange between Rohini and Balaram, and Rohini and Krishna also, and Yashoda Mai and Krishna as well as Balaram. That's the main, most prominent relationship before Krishna and Balaram enter the cow tending phase. And then it's all about Sakya Ras mainly. And then when Krishna reaches Kaishore after the age of 10, well, then something else is going on. That's when it's the time of the prominence of Madhurya Ras. So Krishna has it all. This is why we're envious of Krishna. We want to be the supreme enjoyer. We're really hung up on that. And I was explaining the other day in Los Angeles, the material world is so constructed that as soon as you want to enjoy, you have to control. That control may manifest so subtly. It may be just the movement of an eyebrow or the inflection of your voice. But you're controlling in order to get what you want, which is enjoyment. You can't get any kind of temporary material enjoyment without control. There's always some problem with material enjoyment. I've been talking about this at outreach programs. In Los Angeles, they have one, Studio 108. Studio Ohm. In London, it's called Studio 108. And then Long Beach, the Long Beach Center last night. I was explaining, there is no such thing as unadulterated happiness in the material world. But that's what we want. Just happiness without any problems. So people say, I want to be happy. By your saying that, you're acknowledging something is blocking you. Otherwise, you wouldn't say, I want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. In other words, yes, I want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. But there's some resistance. There's some obstacle. There's some problem. But for Krishna and Balaram, they have Satchidananda happiness, pure happiness, never a problem. And in fact, their happiness is infinitely increasing. Never the same. It's not static. It's not stable. It's dynamic because it's spiritual happiness. So Krishna and Balaram are together in the forest, and Krishna's pointing out all these aspects of the forest. They're worshiping you, Balaram. By your glance, Balaram, the hills, the valleys, the rivers, the trees, the whole landscape has become auspicious because of your glance. And what's more, besides the peacocks dancing for your pleasure, besides the cuckoos singing for your pleasure, your arms embrace the gopis for your pleasure. So what will Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys do in the forest? Remember, Krishna is saying all these things in a half-joking way, because actually the trees, the bees, the deer, everything that's going on in Brindavan is actually focused on Krishna. But Krishna wants to give the credit to Balaram. So there's playing going on amidst the cowherd boys. Playing so wondrous you can't imagine. You may think you've seen children that like to play together. Just like I was staying at the house of Gorakali and Rasakali, and their kids, they like to play together. And it brings joy to the parents seeing the kids playing together. But nothing compares to Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys playing. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram, Srimad Bhagavatam says, they hold hands while they're watching the cowherd boys play. The cowherd boys are wrestling, they're jumping, they're dancing, they're singing, and Krishna and Balaram cheer them on. Oh, brothers, how wonderful you're singing. You're just like Gandharvas. How wonderful you're dancing. You're just like Vidyadharas. How wonderful you're fighting, wrestling. There's nothing in the three worlds that will compare. So Krishna and Balaram together are exhorting the cowherd boys. And then Krishna and Balaram sing, and they harmonize together. Their emotions are harmonized, and their singing is harmonized. And the cowherd boys also start to sing, and Krishna and Balaram compliment them. They're sporting. Kavi Karnapur explains that the cowherd boys make balls out of some kind of flowers, make them into a ball, and they, with perfect accuracy, throw it at other cowherd boys and hit them. So they're throwing these balls of flowers at each other, hitting the target every time. And then sometimes they throw the ball high in the air, and Krishna jumps up and catches it with one hand. And with the other hand, what is Krishna doing? He's holding on to his turban, so his turban doesn't slip off of his head at the wrong angle. So you might say, well, what is this? We thought everything about Krishna is perfect. Why is it when he jumps up high to catch the ball, he has to hold on to his turban? But this is all part of Krishna's pleasure. Whatever Krishna does, however he looks, it's perfect. If the turban slips that way, he still looks perfectly beautiful. If it slips the other way, he looks perfectly beautiful. But for the sake of Lila, for the sake of pastimes, let me keep my turban adjusted. This is why he's having Nara Lila, human-like pastimes. But he's never in anxiety, just like you might be in anxiety. Are my clothes in order? Krishna never worries about that. But for the sake of his human-like pastimes, just like when he jumped into the Yamuna River to deal with Kaliya, what did he do? He climbed up on a tree, and what did he do before he jumped into the poison Yamuna River? He adjusted his clothes. He has to be in style. But is Krishna ever untidy? No, but these are pastimes. Just like when Krishna is playing in the forest, Mother Yashoda always worries. He's covered with dust, he's drops of perspiration, but that is the most beautiful scene. In other words, when Krishna doesn't have dust on his face, that's one kind of infinite beauty. When he has dust on his face, it's another kind of infinite beauty. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that the drops of perspiration on Krishna's face when he's playing with the cowherd boys, they're like pearls on the moon. Krishna's face is like a moon, and the drops of perspiration are like pearls on the face of the moon. So our point is that whatever Krishna does, it's infinitely attractive. So he's playing with the cowherd boys and Balaram so vigorously. Balaram gets fatigued. What is this? He's got an all-spiritual body. How can he be fatigued? But again, this is pastimes. So there are several verses in Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 15, which simply describe Balaram resting. You might say, well, what's so important about someone resting? But everything Krishna and Balaram do is unlimitedly important. So therefore, yes, verses describing Balaram's resting. And also Krishna's resting. So how does Balaram rest? He puts his head on the lap of a cowherd boy. And Krishna comes along and starts massaging Balaram's feet. And then Krishna also starts fanning Balaram. And then Krishna goes to the Yamuna River and brings back river water for Balaram to drink. Then it's time for Krishna to take a little rest. How does he do it? Every cowherd boy wants to offer a bed of leaves for Krishna to lay down on. So how does Krishna solve the problem of satisfying each cowherd boy. He expands himself. 4 or 5 cowherd boys get together and make a bed. Another group of 4 or 5 get together and make a bed. Another 4 or 5 make another bed. Countless beds, and Krsna expands himself so that the cowherd boys don't see that he's laying down on each group's bed. Try doing that. Just like in Rasa Lila, Krsna expands himself to be in between every 2 gopis. So similarly, in the cowherd boys' Lila, Krsna expands himself. Okay, all the cowherd boys want to take care of me while I'm resting. I'll expand myself, and I'll be in every group of 4 or 5 cowherd boys. They all can take care of me. So this is the enjoyment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Suddenly, the cowherd boys come up with a proposition. Not that they want anything, not that they need anything materially, but the acharyas explain it's the nature of prem, it's the nature of love that you make a request. Not because you want something for yourself, but it's just the nature of loving exchanges. Would you do this for me? Would you do that for me? It's all about the love, not that I need that thing. So, this is the month of Bhadra, and it's time for the cowherd boys' Bhadra campaign. The fruits, the Tala fruits in Talavan forest. They've heard about the sweetness of those fruits. No one has tasted the fruits because, as you know, the forest is guarded by Dhenukasura, the donkey demon. No one has tasted these fruits, but the cowherd boys know just by the fragrance of the fruits that's drifting through the forest, they know these fruits are very sweet. The Talavan forest is midway between Govardhan Hill and Mathura. So the cowherd boys smell the breeze bringing the fragrance of the fruits. So they say, they're informing Krsna, you know, there are these fruits, these Tala fruits. They're so tasty, we can tell by the fragrance. But there's a problem. Because Krsna and Balaram, the acharyas, they say to the cowherd boys, okay, some tasty fruits, go get them. What's the big deal? Oh, but there's an obstacle. These fruits have never been tasted because they're guarded by a huge donkey demon. And they say it in a way to make Krsna laugh and to make Balaram angry. They say, oh, Balaram, this donkey demon is Ativirya, unlimitedly strong. Why are they saying that to Balaram? They want to make him angry. He's unlimitedly strong. Do you hear that, Balaram? Unlimited strength. In other words, what are you going to do about it? And then they tell Krsna, oh, Krsna, this is Kalarupa, a demon in the form of a donkey, a jackass. They tell Krsna that to make him laugh, like, ha ha, donkey demon. And they notice, still, Krsna and Balaram aren't motivated enough to swing into action. So what happens next? They say, besides Dhenukasura, there's also others of these donkey demons. They're trying to shake Krsna and Balaram out of their indifference. There are others besides him. So the acharyas point out that Krsna, he's saying, what's the problem? Just go get the fruits. But there's this demon. Why do you worry about the demon? Just take the fruits. But you can't do that. But Krsna says the forest is public. Anyone can go there. Yeah, but the demon is blocking everyone from going there. This demon eats men alive. And even birds are afraid to fly over the Talavan forests. Still, Krishna's saying, well, you can't just go and take someone else's fruits. But these are not his fruits. This is a public forest. They're trying to get Krishna agitated and Balaram agitated, so they'll swing into action. So Krishna decides, look, let Balaram get the first chance with these demons. I've killed enough demons already. Aga, Putana, Bakasura. Time for Balaram to have a chance. But the cowherd boys are not convinced that Balaram is sufficiently motivated. So they're getting, the cowherd boys, the acharyas, are getting a bit angry. They say to Balaram, Balaram, don't you find this idea appealing? They're getting a little like boys playing with one another, get angry. But this is not material anger. This is all Lila. Balaram, aren't you motivated? Don't you think this is a good idea? Come on, Balaram. Then Krishna and Balaram laugh. All right. A donkey demon, okay. Now we've heard everything. No problem. So they go to the Talavan forest. And it's Balaram who starts the whole commotion. He grabs one of the tala trees and starts shaking it. And the noise that Balaram is making arouses the donkey demon. As the fruits, the tala fruits, start falling to the ground. But Balaram, the acharyas point out, shakes the tree in such a way that none of the fruits fall on his head. Very expert. Or it could be, the acharyas say, that Balaram manifests many arms and shakes all the trees in the forest. But either way, what does it matter? If he just shakes one tree, that one tree starts to knock down the tree next to it and sets off a chain reaction. All the trees in the Talavan forest start crashing to the ground because of Balaram either shaking one tree or manifesting countless arms and shaking countless trees all at the same time. So then the ass demon comes. He is huge. He's a huge donkey. The earth is shaking. Just like twice in the past 2 weeks when I was been in L.A. The earth has shaken. Those of you from Los Angeles are probably accustomed to it. For me, even though I'm based in the Shaky Isles, New Zealand, I was a bit caught off guard by the ground shaking, the building shaking. So Dhenukasura was such an ass demon, so huge, such a donkey demon, that the earth would tremble. And he made such a horrible, terrifying sound that would shatter your ears. So he goes right for Balaram, because Balaram is the one who's causing the disturbance, shaking the trees, causing all the fruits to fall on the ground. So he goes for Balaram. And how do donkeys kick? They turn their back to you and kick you with their hind legs. So the donkey demon ran up to Balaram, a huge donkey, and aimed his rear at Balaram and kicked out with his back legs into the chest of Balaram. Balaram, of course, felt no pain. Why did Balaram let that happen? He wanted to show the donkey demon, I'm not afraid of you. Nothing you can do hurts me. Anyway, take your best shot. Go on, kick me in the chest. So then the donkey demon is going to try again. He's got his back end towards Balaram, and he's looking over each shoulder like, where's the weak spot in this Balaram's body? I'm going to find the weak spot and then kick it with my back feet, my back legs. So he comes racing towards Balaram again, and he turns his backside to Balaram to kick out with his hind legs. And what happens? Balaram grabs his legs, starts spinning him around with one hand. And just by that spinning around, being spun around, the donkey demon loses his life. So Balaram is swinging him around and then throws him into the top of the trees. And the trees start crashing down. Whatever trees were still standing, they start crashing down. There are still other donkey demons left. Their leader has been killed because the donkey demon, the main leader, lost his life just by being spun around in the air. He was dead before he landed in the treetops. But there are others, his mates, his cronies. They come running. They're also huge and terrifying. They decide, they make a tactical decision. We had so much trouble with this Balaram. Let's go for Krsna. So they go for Krsna, thinking that they'll have an easier time. But while they're going for Krsna, Krsna doesn't want them to go for Balaram. So not only does Krsna get the brunt of the attack, but Krsna also steps in front of Balaram. Okay, Balaram, you've done enough. Now it's my turn. So both Krsna and Balaram grab these jackasses by the back of legs and start twirling them around with one hand. This is how the cowherd boys enjoy it. Into the treetops. So again, you might think the cowherd boys are simply doing this because they're hungry. But no, they want to see Krsna display his powers. They even say to Krsna, we know we're all in Sakyaras, friendship relationship. If you kill these jackass demons, it won't disturb the rasa. It'll just add a secondary rasa, a virya rasa, chivalry. But it won't disturb our relationship. So come on, Krsna, you can do it. To motivate Krsna to go to the Talavan forest, to deal with Dhenukasura, they explained to Balaram, Balaram, we've been hanging out with Krsna, and he's a butter thief. Therefore, we've become greedy. That's why we want the fruits, because of Krsna making us greedy. He steals so much butter, so we're also greedy like that. But actually, this is all for fun. The cowherd boys want to see Krsna and Balaram enjoy. They actually have no selfish desires. So they finish off the whole herd of donkey demons. And then everyone in the area of Vraj can come and get the tala fruits. The cowherd boys, the Brijbasis, refuse to touch the fruits that are covered with the blood of the dead demons. But the other fruits, they'll take. So in this way, Krsna has a triumphant day in the forest. Finally, last point, when did this occur? Sometimes it's said that this is a later pastime, after Krsna dealing with Kaliya. Other times it is said this pastime happened on the first day that Krsna went to the forest with the cows. It doesn't really matter, because when Shukadeva Goswami is relaying these Krishna Leelas, he gets lost in ecstasy and sometimes rearranges the order. The most important thing about Bhagavatam is not so much chronological order. The most important thing is ecstasy. So Shukadeva Goswami sometimes loses track. He puts one pastime before another, out of order. It doesn't matter. So there's a question. On that first day of Gopashtami, when Krishna and Balaram took the cows to the forest, did that killing of the donkey demons happen that day, or was it later? Some, even the same Acharya, like Sanatana Goswami, will say, some say it's like this, some say it's like that. It really doesn't matter, because it's all about Krishna and Balaram's pleasure. Do we have time for one last pastime? Very brief. What schedule are we on?
You're fine, Mark.
Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Balaram Bhava. Nimai Pandit was walking around in Navadvip, as he likes to do, accompanied by Srivas Thakur. And they walked past a tavern, a bar, whatever you call it in your country, a pub. And the smell of alcohol comes out on the road. Lord Chaitanya smells the wine and immediately remembers Balaram and Varuni. And he goes into the existential state of being Balaram, which is completely understandable because Balaram is the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya includes all avatars, certainly includes Balaram. But you might think, wait a minute, why is Lord Chaitanya smelling alcohol? He's actually not smelling the alcohol, he's smelling the Varuni, Braj Varuni. This may be hard for you to understand. Just like when Lord Chaitanya is on the beach at Jagannath Puri, he sees the Chataka Parvat, this hill, but he doesn't see the hill. He immediately remembers Govardhan Hill and is lost in the reality of Govardhan Hill. So similarly, Nimai Pandit, walking past the tavern with Srivas Thakur, the smell of the alcohol immediately puts him into a different realm. He's Balaram smelling Varuni. So let's be clear about that. Lord Chaitanya is not going to ecstasy by smelling alcohol. So what does he say to Srivas Thakur upon smelling Varuni, but to external vision it looks like it's the fragrance of alcohol? He says to Srivas, I'm going inside. I'm going in the tavern. Srivas Thakur says, wait a minute now. Oh, wait a minute. This is getting to be a bit too much. He presents 3 reasons to Nimai Pandit why you can't go in there. Srivas Thakur is holding on to the feet of Nimai Pandit. No, you can't go in there. And I'm going to give you some reasons why. Number 1, you are the Nitya Dharma Moy. You are eternally Dharma personified. And you are Prabhu Sanatan. You are the primeval Lord. If you don't demonstrate Dharma, people are finished. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Utsideya ime loka nakuryam karma chedaham. If I don't show the world the proper standard of Dharma, the whole population will be ruined. Indirectly, I could get the blame. So that's Srivas Thakur's first point. You are Dharma personified. If you go inside the tavern, yes, you're lost in the Balaram Bhava, but nevertheless, if you go in, what the ordinary person will think is, oh, contamination. Number 2, you have critics who will jump on this as the proof that you're ingenuine, that you walked into a tavern. Your critics will become more critical, and by that blasphemy, they'll go to hell. So think about that. Point number 3. how am I going to explain this Lila to someone else? This Lila is so hard to understand. How am I going to explain this one? So remember, he's holding on to Mahaprabhu's feet. And Mahaprabhu tells him, why do I have to follow rules and regulations? I'm going inside. So Srivas Thakur pulls out his ultimate weapon. He says, you enter in to the tavern, I'll enter into the Ganga and drown myself. So that stops Nimai Pandit. All right, the request of a devotee. So Nimai Pandit and Srivas Thakur, they continue walking on the road. Nimai Pandit doesn't enter within the tavern, but the drunks inside the tavern see him. Oh, it's Nimai Pandit. Oh, he's such a nice person. Oh, he sings so nicely. He dances so nicely. They're totally stoned. They're totally drunk. But they appreciate Nimai Pandit. So they all start having an imitation kirtan. They're all chanting, Hari, Hari. And they're having a kirtan, chanting Jai Narayan. They're imitating the kirtan parties that they've seen Nimai Pandit lead. And they're staggering around in the tavern. They're all drunkards. Srivas Thakur sees this scene and starts to cry. Lord Chaitanya, Nimai Pandit, smiles. And the drunkards go on having their kirtan, and Nimai Pandit and Srivas Thakur continue on down the road. Nimai Pandit is back in regular consciousness because of the request of Srivas Thakur. If you enter into the tavern, I'm entering the Ganga and drowning myself. Not only did Lord Chaitanya stop from going into the tavern, but he came out of Balaram Bhava. He came out of being Balaram. And so, in that way, the pastime ended, and Brindavan Das Thakur points out, just see, so many Mayavadi sannyasis blaspheme Nimai Pandit, but the drunkards appreciate. They're so much more fortunate. And that even though their sinful activities will continue after seeing Nimai Pandit, their lives are still fortunate. So this is a case where, although they received the smile of Nimai Pandit, they didn't stop their sinful activities, but still, their lives are extraordinarily fortunate. And so Nimai Pandit and Srivas Thakur kept walking down the road as the drunkards continued their kirtan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Kirtan.